Good afternoon. Hello, I think it's best that perhaps we keep going. My name is Embla Eir Oddsdóttir. I'm with the Icelandic Arctic Cooperation Network, and I'm chairing this session. This is reporting session number 4. It's a short session with only 2 presentations, but a bunch of people making those presentations. I ask the speakers kindly to try to keep to the time restrictions, and I've suggested that we hear both presentations first, and then hopefully there will be some time for questions afterwards. Our first speaker is the co-founder of the Arctic Circle, along with the President of Iceland, Mr. Ólafur Ragnar Grímsson. She is also an American publisher, business executive, philanthropist, and arts patron. Alice Rogoff is our speaker, and she is the majority owner of the Alaska Dispatch and the Anchorage Daily News, the largest newspaper in Alaska. Alice will be speaking on enhancing the U.S. chairmanship of the Arctic Council, Fulbright's commitment to the Arctic, 2015 to 2017. Welcome, Alice.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I hope you're all at least as awake as I am. And I'm going to be very brief because I'm really just the message carrier for others on the stage today. So it's my totally delightful pleasure to give you 2 pieces of news that will be of outsized significance in our country, and I hope will have great relevance to those of you from other countries. The first one has to do with something that we are told was important to the Secretary of State, John Kerry himself, and that is there will be a program that has been sort of announced already, but you're going to hear more about it today, for Fulbright Arctic scholars. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Fulbright program, it's something that goes way back in U.S. history to do something that we don't do enough of in this day and age, which is to have scholarship that lives in other countries, reports back to the United States, and aims to further diplomacy, knowledge, and understanding, in this case with respect to the Arctic, and that's a first. So you'll be hearing in a moment from Stephen Money from the U.S. Department of State with more details about that. The second announcement is something of tremendous pride to Alaskans here on the stage with me, and that is there is now going to be a Center for Arctic Policy at the University of Alaska, the statewide university system, that is. And as far as I know, somebody feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first such university center in any of the 50 states in the United States. So we are very proud of this. It's embryonic, of course, as all things are when they're newly created. And the university's Vice Chancellor, Mike, will be telling you more details about that. So at that point, I'm going to sit down and let everybody else fill you in. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Alice. My name's Steve Money. I'm from the Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs at the U.S. State Department. My bureau has the job of building friendly and peaceful relations between the United States and the people of other countries through academic, cultural, sports, and professional exchanges. We heard from Senator Murkowski and Admiral Papp on Friday the importance that the U.S. places on the Arctic. We are an Arctic nation. And a secure, well-managed Arctic marked by international cooperation is really a key priority of the U.S. The upcoming chairmanship of the Arctic Council that the U.S. will take on in the spring has really set our Bureau to thinking about how we could focus attention on Arctic issues and foster international scholarly collaboration on the Arctic through our academic exchange programs. And I'd like to discuss an exciting new initiative that we are launching as part of the Fulbright program along those lines. The Fulbright program is the State Department's oldest and most important people-to-people exchange program, supporting study, research, and teaching by over 8,000 people each year. It operates in over 150 countries. For over 65 years, the Fulbright program has had an outstanding record of academic achievement and international collaboration. The Fulbright program is supported financially by the US government and other governments around the world. The funding partnerships that the State Department has with partner governments, as well as with the private sector, truly makes Fulbright a global program, and that makes it a perfect forum to bring together the best minds to study our shared challenges in the Arctic and to find practical solutions. Participants in the Fulbright program have long been engaged in Arctic research through the traditional Fulbright student and scholar programs. There have been additional opportunities made available in select countries through special Arctic focus programs initiated by the Fulbright Commissions in Arctic countries, such as the Fulbright Arctic Share grants in Canada and Norway, and a new special collaboration between the Fulbright Commission in Iceland and the National Science Foundation in the US. Additionally, with the support of the Swedish Fulbright Commission and the US Embassy in Sweden, the Fulbright program convened a conference in October 2013 in Abisko, Sweden, where scholars studying Arctic issues across several countries in Europe gathered to discuss synergies and share their research findings with one another. I'm pleased today to discuss a major new initiative of the Fulbright program in this area. A new Fulbright Arctic initiative will begin in 2015 to coincide with the US chairmanship of the Arctic Council. It will support a team of 16 scholars and researchers from the 8 member countries of the Arctic Council to conduct collaborative, multidisciplinary research to assess the changing Arctic region. Their research will focus on the impact of climate change in the Arctic, particularly on the issues of water, energy, health, and infrastructure. All academic fields are eligible to participate, and we hope to have a balance of disciplines from the sciences to the humanities and social sciences, as well as professional fields, including journalism and law. The scholars who participate will come from different countries and different fields, but will share a commitment to working together to understand and address Arctic issues and make a practical contribution to meeting our shared challenges. I'm happy to be here today and share the stage with the 2 scholars who have been selected to serve as the distinguished leaders of this initiative to help guide the research agenda of the group and provide intellectual leadership. Dr. Mike Sfraga of the University of Alaska Fairbanks and Dr. Ross Virginia of Dartmouth. And I'd like to turn things over to them to tell you a little more about our plans.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, everyone, coming this afternoon. I'll try to weave the 2 things in. First, on the Center for Arctic Policy Studies at the University of Alaska, centered at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. As Alice noted, is in an embryonic stage, but we thought of no better place than Alaska to have a Center of Arctic Policy Studies that focuses not on just the work that happens throughout the circumpolar north, but also in the state of Alaska to assist policymakers. So more on that as we develop that program. In relation to the Fulbright program, Ross and I as co-leads are honored to bring this incredible effort to light, to develop it and then lead scholars from throughout the North on very important issues. We also have a weighted sense of responsibility to get it right. There are 18 months and then a 2-year period to bring scholars together in 4 critical areas, to not just provide academic effort in this area, but to provide leadership and actionable items so that folks like you can come to forum like this and be informed about and influence decisions for the future. Perhaps not our future, but our children's future. So it's with great delight, but also a sense of urgency that we have on these particular issues. I want to talk about 2 issues of the 4 themes. We will have 4 themes in this Fulbright, 18 months, 16 scholars. In terms of numbers, I might as well share with you that Fulbright to me has 3 major numbers: 360,000 scholars, 155 countries, and 68 years. That's a lot of effort, and it's a spotlight on the Arctic that the State Department has decided to turn on. With all of that effort and all of that outreach and all of that public diplomacy, we hope we will bring a spotlight to these 4 areas. And as Steve Money noted, they are energy, water, infrastructure, and finally health. I want to talk a little bit about health. You read on the screen the words there. It's things that we've talked about over the last few days. But health to expand to the community's health, whether that's sanitation or mental illness or physical illness or just sheer access to health care. We want scholars from around the globe and around the circumpolar north to explore those issues. We also want them to look at infrastructure. Yes, ports, yes, gas lines, but think about communities that are literally and figuratively on the edge. And I'm talking about coastal communities that are battling each and every day to keep their culture intact and their community intact. So when we think about health and we think about infrastructure, this is not just about a health clinic, and it's not just about a port. It's about sustainability and survival of our communities throughout Alaska and throughout the circumpolar north. I'll now turn it over to my co-lead, Ross Virginia. Ross?
Thank you, Mike. It's a pleasure to be here and be able to talk about Fulbright and to share this exciting opportunity for the Arctic community, our colleagues, scholars and practitioners from throughout the Arctic nations. This program is organized around a number of research themes. We've already heard about health and infrastructure, energy and water are the other pillars or areas that we're particularly concerned about and thinking what are the pressing problems and opportunities that face the Arctic, and how do we engage the academic community and practitioners to work together in collaborative, multidisciplinary teams to generate new knowledge about these critical problems. Knowledge that can lead to action, knowledge that will inform policy, knowledge that will really come together at a time that perhaps will help the U.S. in its chairmanship of the Arctic Council, but more broadly help the Arctic community. All of these problems are interlocked. We've broken them into discrete categories, but it's difficult to talk about energy without thinking about potential problems related to pollution and health and feedbacks on the sustainability of Arctic communities. Water is obviously going to be a critical resource for the future of the Arctic. Many of us see the Arctic Ocean as perhaps the most critical integrator of the problems and opportunities facing the Arctic around oil and gas development, around fisheries, around marine resources, around sea level rise. All these connect to climate change. And these are the types of problems and issues that Fulbright is ready to take on and tackle, and that we're quite excited to be involved in as co-lead scholars. I think the thing that I'm here to do today, along with Mike and our colleagues from Fulbright and people like Alice and others that are very interested in moving scholarship forward in the Arctic, is to invite your help. This program is only as strong as the engagement and involvement of the academic community and the practitioners in the Arctic, and all disciplines. And so we ask your help. Think about this program if you're a young scholar or you're an established person with a program that you want to share with Fulbright. Share this information with your students and the colleagues and generate some buzz around Fulbright. As co-lead scholars, Mike and I, this is our first job, is to get the very best people interested in this program and engage with them. You can see the deadlines here. They're coming up fairly soon. February are the target dates for applications. You can find information about Fulbright on the web. We're very engaged with social media. We're reaching out to both young and established scholars. And Mike and I are here as well the rest of today, and we encourage contact, ideas. We want to share this excellent opportunity, this amazing resource to the full community of Arctic scholars and practitioners. Thank you very much.